Hello everyone. Today I'll be performing a complete disassembly of Beretta 92FS. This is on request from a couple of my viewers. I'm going to start this disassembly the same way I start every disassembly, by checking that the gun is unloaded. Magazine is empty. I'll set it aside. Check the chamber. That's empty too. And you just saw that the gun cannot be cocked with the safety on. So let's proceed to disassemble this pistol. I'm going to start with removing the grips. Okay, so at this point we're going to take the slide off, and you do this by depressing this button on the right side of the frame. And while that button is depressed, I'm just going to hold the slide slightly so it doesn't fly off. Well, actually it's not going to fly off. You depress the button and you free this lever, so you can just move the lever down like so, and the slide will just pop off, as you saw. So we're going to take it off, and I'll set the frame aside for now. We'll start with the slide. Let's remove the guide rod and recoil spring. You can take the recoil spring off the guide rod. It doesn't matter which side you put it on. Okay, we'll set that aside. Oh, and by the way, this is a steel guide rod. You may have a plastic one with the grooves in it. It doesn't matter, disassembly is the same. To remove the barrel, depress that pin to free the locking lug or locking block, and then lift it out of the slide. And we'll set that aside for now. Actually, no. Let's disassemble it further. So to remove this locking block, what you want to do is drive out that little pin right there. I don't know if you can see it. You should be able to see it now. So that little pin right there. Okay, that pin is out. And now we can take the punch out. We can take the retaining pin out. And as you can see, the notch on the pin goes downward. When you're reinserting it, it goes towards the bore. Okay. Now you can take the locking block out. So what we want to do is start from, I'm going to start from removing the firing pin catch, and you do it by driving out this pin right here. So okay, we took that pin out. Now when you're going to take out the punch, make sure that you're holding that firing pin catch on the underside, because it's under spring tension, and it's going to come out just like that, and then you'll see a spring right in here. Now we're going to take out the safety, and we'll do that by first selecting or placing it on safe, as you can see. And now I need to drive out these little two pins. I'm going to drive them out from inside, and hopefully you can tell that there are two grooves actually cut into the slide so that you can position the punch correctly. Okay, so we're gonna take one of them. I'll show you right now how they're coming out. Right here, you see? So now I'm going to take them out all the way. Okay, there's one. Again, I'm trying to do it for the camera, so sometimes it's really uncomfortable. So 2 pins came out. Okay, one didn't. There. Both pins are now out. You can see them right here. And now we can take the right side of the safety lever off, just like that. Now to remove the left side of the safety, you'll probably see that on this side it's retained by the slide itself. So we need to rotate it further up, and in order to rotate it up, I hope you can see that, we need to depress that plunger inside. So we'll depress the plunger. Are you in focus? Hopefully, yes. Depress the plunger and turn it up even higher than it can go normally. Oh, and I actually wasn't able to show you because my plunger jumped out. And now I'm looking at, oh, there's the spring. Okay. So you need to do it very carefully, because inside here, inside the safety, there's a plunger and a spring. And when you rotate it up, the plunger becomes free, basically. So you need to do it carefully not to lose it. You can see that hole right now much better. See it? Okay. Now also watch out for this plunger right here. So as you're depressing the safety and moving it out towards the left side, there's another plunger that you need to take out or not allow to jump out. Okay. And now you can remove the safety pretty much all the way. And there's that plunger that interacts with the firing pin, so you can take that out, and your safety is now completely disassembled. The firing pin, you can see it through this hole, is actually retained by the extractor. So in order for you to take out the firing pin, you need to drive out the extractor pin and take out the extractor as well. We're going to do it from inside. There's that pin that goes towards the center of the slide. You see on this side, it's actually on the side of the slide, and on this side it's in the center, so it's actually coming in at an angle. So there's that pin, and it just jumped out, and you can see that the extractor is now kind of popping out. So we're gonna hold it. I'm gonna take the punch out, and I'm going to slowly release, and when I release, the firing pin jumps out from the back, and I'll show you why in a second. So as you can see, all the parts are dry right now. I did it on purpose so that you don't get glare, like I said before. And also, firing pin spring was sitting inside the slide still. So how this whole assembly works, I don't know if I should show you, but the firing pin is held by the extractor in this way. See that? That channel is made for this kind of protrusion on the extractor. And the firing pin catch is sitting, let's see, is sitting this way, and it holds the firing pin in place until you press the trigger, and at that point the block slides up and the firing pin is allowed to move forward like that. Okay, we'll proceed with the frame disassembly. First thing I'm going to remove is this takedown lever. In order to remove it, you again depress this button on the right side, and while rotating the lever up, make sure it goes out a little bit so that you can clear the rail on the frame. and then take it out completely. Now slowly release the button on the right, take it out from this side, and take out its spring. The next thing I'm going to take out is probably the slide stop. You do it by raising it up so that it comes out of the frame, and then while working it out away from the frame, just so I can clear the frame, I'm going to rotate it down and take it out, and its spring sits inside the frame and actually holds that trigger pin in place. Let's take out the trigger bar, and you do it by taking the spring. Let me zoom you in a little. So that spring is just bent and it sits inside a little recess inside the trigger bar, and this bend sits in the recess inside the frame. So what you want to do is just take out that bend right there and just allow it to go inside the frame or whatever, and then it'll probably just want to come out, and you'll see that one leg has an L shape to it and it sits inside the frame. So now we're going to take that spring out. Here's that spring, and we can take the trigger bar out, and you'll notice that inside here the trigger spring actually sits on top of the trigger bar, so it could be, or it can be a little you can feel a little resistance. What I usually do is just put my finger inside the frame here and kind of push the trigger bar out. Okay, so now it's out. At this point I'm going to take out the trigger, and you'll notice that the pin for the trigger has a head on one side, so you definitely take it out from right to left. We're just going to drive it out just like that, and the spring pops out. There's that spring. Now we can take the pin out altogether and take the trigger out by moving it forward or up through the frame. The sear has a spring that sits in here. I hope you can see it right there. 2 fingers inside the frame, and I'm going to push the pin out, and I'm trying to hold on to the spring and the sear when I'm taking out my punch. Alright, so now the spring is free. Okay, and the sear is free as well, and here's the sear right here. So this spring goes inside this groove on the sear like so. I think we can take out the hammer by taking out this large pin. Let's take the pressure off first by removing the mainspring. Okay, so the pin is almost out all the way. I don't have to take it out completely. What I'm going to do is press on the lanyard loop, and only when I'm holding it, I'm going to take out the punch and then slowly release, and it will come out, and then the spring will come out. There will be no tension on the hammer, and we can take out the pin with ease. There's that. So there's the hammer, and then inside here you'll also have a hammer strut. And there's that hammer strut. And the way it goes back is this way. What you do with magazine release is kind of simply pop it out. So what you want to do is press the opposite direction opposite direction of what you would normally depress the button. So you just press on this side and kind of towards inside the frame, and it'll just pop out. Then in here you have two halves that sit inside. All you would want to do is press from inside out, like so, and see how they curved out just now. And then you can take each half out at a time, right, just like that. And you'll notice that the rectangular end goes towards the button, mag release button, and the rounded end goes towards the other side. And you can take them out of the spring, or the spring out of them, and set that aside too. So now we've got a couple more parts here. It's all on one. These two parts sit on one pin, and this pin is that pin right there, and it goes on one side. It has a head, so you definitely want to go from right to left. So we'll set this down. I remember this pin not being too, yeah. See, I didn't even have to use a hammer, but the pin is out. There's that pin. Now when I take the hammer or the punch out, I'm going to try to not drop the parts. So there's one of them. And there's the other. Let's drive out that ejector pin. Again, I think for this pin, I don't think it matters which side you go, or from which side to which side you go. So take that pin out and then take your ejector out.